Hey guys, in honor of my 10,000 followers, thank you so much. I thought I would just introduce myself. So, my name is Jared Seligman. Thank you for following me. I love you guys so much. I am from New York City, born and raised. I went to public school. I lived mostly in the city. My parents moved to Westchester for a few years, so I did a brief stint there, came back to New York. When I was in high school, I had a little problem with the one credit pass or fail introduction to photography course, which met once a week. And I just couldn't quite make it there. And so I was held back for my final year in high school. And I got hired as an intern in public relations. So I started working when I was 17 years old in PR. We represented music clients, people like Billy Idol, Kanye West, and a few other people, some fashion companies, and some other things. And I was working there while I was finishing my one credit photography course. When that concluded, I had sort of a little gap between then and was actually fired from that job. I got a real estate license, sort of as not really as thinking much of it. I was at dinner with my family. It was a holiday dinner, and my uncle turned to me and said, if you're 18, you can get a real estate license. So I got a real estate license while I had 6 months before I finished or went on to college. And I happened to do very well right off the bat in real estate. I really didn't even know the difference between a co-op and a condo at the time. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't think anything of it. And when I was 18 years old, I won Rookie of the Year at my first firm within a couple of months and won quite a few awards, which was exciting. I made my own money. I paid for my moving truck and got my first apartment when I was 18 in Greenwich Village on Lafayette Street. It was on the ground floor, and it faced a parking lot, so it got no natural light during the day. It was like pitch black, and at night the lights would shine in from the parking lot, so you never really knew what time it was there, and it was right above the 6 train. And so the apartment would shake every 10 minutes, but it was charming and it was my own, and I was so happy to call it my home. I went to another firm, the Corcoran Group, which is where I'm at today. And I won Rookie of the Year again there, and I signed a contract with another agency a few years in the business, where I was at for 10 years. And at that time, I represented tons of celebrities and CEOs and politicians, some, aristocrats. I mean, you name it, I sort of represented the who's who. And I started primarily somehow working with a lot of models. And so I represented something like 100 models at the beginning of my career, very young. And the first article about me was in the Daily. So it's sort of a full picture moment for me. And I was on the back cover of the New York Observer as sort of a broker prodigy. I was on the Forbes 30 under 30 list for world leaders in real estate. I was on the cover, not my face, Cameron Diaz was on the cover of W Magazine, but my name was, saying that I was the 21-year-old real estate star of New York, which was super exciting. And I had a great run. I shot some, segments on TV. I shot one of the pilots for a few reality shows like The City, The $1 Million Listing. I was a little too nervous to kind of put myself out there at the time because I had all these big clients and I was very, very young. And, I have no regrets, but I definitely wonder if I explored that opportunity. And then I sort of got bored with real estate a little bit, and being in New York City, I just sort of wanted to do something new. And I've always had a passion for design and art and antiques and vintage things. And I started dabbling in my own homes. I restored a 1840s Greek Revival grand, country house in upstate New York. I had a field day decorating that. That was amazing. One of my friends and clients asked me if I would consider doing one of their homes. So I just sort of said yes. It sounded like too good of an opportunity to turn down. And so I started doing some interior design for like 3 or 4 years. And that was fun and really exciting and very, very gratifying. When that concluded, it was sort of entering into COVID a bit, at which point we moved to Palm Beach for the quarantine. I saw, maybe no flights would be going out or whatever, so I wanted to be in the warmth and in the sun, and didn't expect it to turn into as long as it did. And when I was in Palm Beach, I really, wanted to get healthy and take some time away from work for a minute, and was in the best shape of my life. And one day I noticed my hearing a little off in my left ear, and I went to some doctors. No one could really figure out what it was. At the time, COVID had all these things. And anyway, long story short, after some testing, I found out that I had a benign brain tumor called a acoustic neuroma, which was between my hearing, balance, and facial nerve, and had a few different surgeries. That's a whole long story for another time. And the recovery was a really, really difficult process. It was long. I gained a bunch of weight. I lost a lot of energy. The radiation treatment definitely sucked the life out of me. But thank God the second surgery was successful. And I started to recover very slowly. I definitely didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel for quite some time, and that's when I sort of entered TikTok. I watched all my, reality shows and went through my Netflix, and then I got onto TikTok, and I really just found so many great people here that I follow that gave me motivation and inspiration. And I said to myself, one day, when and if I ever feel better, I will, do a TikTok video. And, a few years later, one thing led to the other. I'm back in real estate. I moved out to the Hamptons into our beach house, and I absolutely love it here. I dropped New York City, and we're living here full time. And it took me quite a few years to come to that decision to leave Manhattan. I never thought I would ever leave New York. It was always New York or nowhere. New York City, of course, and I just really have always fallen in love with the Hamptons. I met my husband in 28 years ago, 2016, I think. We got engaged in 2018. We were married in February. I know some of you want to hear a little bit more about that, which I'm going to share with you. And we have our two dogs, Winston Churchill and Queen Elizabeth, who is sitting right here. And we live in Bridgehampton. We spend a bit of time in, traveling around and whatever, but this is our home base. And I've rejoined the Corcoran Group, and I am selling real estate out here, doing some creative projects, doing some content creation, and have a few exciting things in the mix. And just recently, I was on the cover of Spotlight magazine, which is a local publication, which is a really full circle moment for me after taking quite a few years out of kind of the spotlight, so to speak, and I've never been on a magazine cover, so I'm just super excited about that. The article, should be up if you want to read, a little bit more about me, and that's kind of what's going on in a nutshell. So I'm very excited to be here with you guys. I love making videos, would love to hear from you what you'd like to see more of or less of, or different things. Always love when you guys comment and engage. So make sure you follow, and look forward to see what the future brings.